Hi everybody, thanks for being with me again on my channel. A little bit better news, I guess, a little bit of fun stuff we're going to do now in relation to cookers and their version of being paranoid and what paranoid means to the cookers. So I get a lot of joy, I must confess, and it's a terrible admission, I know, but to watch David Graham on Stop the Rot, Sack the Lot is as entertaining as any TV show you could imagine. It's like watching a reality TV show that is not all that, well, I guess it's very real, but the people on it are genuine. They care about everything else, including themselves, primarily themselves. They've risen narcissism to a new height, I often believe. And in the post that he put out yesterday on his Facebook feed, Project Matilda, wherever he seems to be able to send it, heaven only knows why he's able to get this junk out there. It's just so full of disinformation, it blows my mind. And they're celebrating the fact that almost every one of them agrees that it was them that got rid of Dan Andrews, that they've achieved the ultimate goal in getting rid of Andrews, and they're celebrating the fact that Andrews has now resigned as if they were the ones that brought this to pass. However, the topic I want to talk about today in relation to them are chemtrails. Now, I did a spoof on chemtrails some time back. If you care to look at it, it's called An Interview with A. Dick. And this is an opportunity for me to highlight a little bit more about the dickiness that is actually the extreme right-wing sovereign citizen movement. And in this particular clip, they bring up the issues of chemtrails and they start talking about them. And then they have this guy who produces this dish of vinegar that is evaporating and for some reason can get rid of chemtrails. And I've got an article here out of Wikipedia, which I can't bring up on the screen because it just won't shrink to the right size. But nevertheless, I'll read to you what the article says about chemtrails. And it makes you realise that this is just one example of the craziness of these people. And it's hard to fathom how what I see relatively intelligent people can believe the most bizarre, illogical beliefs that one can imagine. Now, I don't know where these beliefs necessarily come from. Some of these beliefs have been born out of conspiracy theories that date back decades, but they latch onto them as if this is the conspiracy to be able to manipulate them, to mind control them, to eradicate the human species as we know it to this day, because the deep state is busily working to control us in every possible way, including, for some bizarre reason, eradicating us. So I'll play you this clip of David Campbell on his show. And the other thing I need to say is I do admire them, though, because in one of the clips I watched the other day, he had almost 1,000 people viewing it. So he's far more successful than I am in terms of the work I do on YouTube, even though very little of my stuff does go to Facebook. But they do have a following, a massive following. And one needs to acknowledge that that is a success in itself, I guess. And I kind of, I'm happy to celebrate that with them as well. Well done. But what it does indicate is that there are a lot of crazy people just like them out there. And one of the things I often ask myself, and I might have mentioned this before, is that if these people controlled the world as they would like to be able to do, in a sort of Trumpian fashion, how would the world look? And it would be so bloody chaotic. There wouldn't be any rules, any laws. They're their own person. They do their own travelling. So they don't actually need to abide by any rules of the road. They could probably drive on the right or the left side of the road, whichever way they felt at any particular time. They would lock up all those people that disagreed with them. They are anarchists at the best and demigods at the worst. And so I'm curious about how they wish to change. I'd love to have a conversation with one of them about the way they view the world should be according to them. And I think it'd be an interesting conversation, and if there's anybody that is watching them who watching my show who is a sovereign citizen and would like to come on and just talk about your theories, that's fine. I'm happy to have that conversation. I'm not necessarily going to debate the rights or the wrongs of it. I just want to know what you think about some of these theories that you have and where they come from and what sort of where they sit within a reality, I guess. So that's what I'd like to do. But I'll just play you this this clip from Graham, and you can decide what you think. I'm going to talk a little bit about some information specifically about chemtrails, so that you can probably get a better view as to what this really is all about.
I got to unmute and mute, otherwise you and I got an echo. Mark and I know we've got a 3-second delay.
I love this bit. They went on for a few minutes with this echo in the background, and I think David Campbell could have put on a headset, which would have prevented the echo in the first place. But clearly, he's not that smart, or he doesn't own a headset. I don't know which one it is.
Delay between us guys, okay, and that's what's happening. We've already worked that out, and we're playing that fine now, but I'm going to have to mute when I'm not talking, and Mark will mute when he's not talking, and we'll keep the echo out for you. But Mark, on that comment of chemtrails, I got a clip here I'm going to bring in, and it's the music guru, because, you know, we all love music, you and me, and here he is, he's being the guru about the chemtrails and the vinegar. So let's have a look at this. I've got to play it. Okay, here we go. Combined effort here, guys. Hey, and by the way, it's mine and Mel's anniversary today too, guys. We forgot until lunchtime, because we just love each other every day of the week.
Congratulations, buddy.
But
beautiful
yeah, it
couple.
is today, man. So yeah, thanks, guys. Okay, let's have a listen to the music guru.
Let's see what happens. I don't know how it works. Some sort of chemical reaction. I don't know, but just give it a go and see what happens.
So there are the chemtrails, everybody. Pretty damn exciting.
Well, the vinegar's warming up. Warming up, so let's see if we can get rid of those chemtrails, shall we? Need some steam on now. Perfect day to be doing this. They've been very busy overnight, and they're still letting up.
The theory apparently is that if you put vinegar out, it will disperse these chemtrails. Now, we need to remember that the chemtrails are something like 22,000 plus feet in the air, and there's no way in the world a spray of vinegar vapor is going to reach these chemtrails. But let's indulge ourselves in their idiocy.
Very, very hazy now.
It's an overcast day, man. That's why it's hazy.
Well, it's been about 45 minutes. Might add a little bit more vinegar to it. It's gone down.
Dude, not enough vinegar to be able to cover the thousands of kilometres.
We all know about this vinegar trick, guys, I say. Yep. I've seen it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
They keep on chemtrailing. They're like, shit, Alex has got the vinegar out. Send some more planes. But it's definitely clearer than it was earlier, so...
Yeah. Okay. So
just filled it up with a bit more vinegar, another 2 litres in there. So give it another hour. It's been on the boil now for about an hour, so we're only an hour in.
I just don't understand how stupid these people are. And one of the reasons.
More than it was earlier. Now, is that a fluke?
Hear what David has to say.
Keep it boiling for another. Well, just keep going. Why not just keep it boiling till it's all gone?
Okay, Dave. Speak. Utter.
Time to take the vinegar off the shelf, eh?
Just when I think the sky's clearing.
Yeah.
So the issue. So this is, for me, this is just an example of how crazy the cookers are, because there is plenty of evidence that, firstly, think about it logically. A plane is flying some 22 to 30,000 feet above, and then somehow you would expect vinegar to evaporate and absorb into the atmosphere that would combat these chemtrails, which are supposedly full of some sort of chemical that changes the way we interact with each other, the world, or it's trying to eradicate us by poisoning us. Now, it needs to be mentioned that for if people are crop dusting, for example, they're crop dusting 20 metres or so, 30 metres above the area in which they're supposed to be affecting. And that's dropping a lot of stuff in order to get rid of the beasts and the insects or whatever that are affected the crops. So a plane travelling at 700, 800 kilometres an hour above you, dropping this vapour, which is simply ice particles that are formed from the engines as they're going through an atmospheric change. So, pardon me. So I'll mention where it talks about chemtrails in this particular article. I'll just try and find it. The very existence of the grand conspiracy required to administer chemtrails may be changed on the basis of the difficulty of maintaining such conspiracy for so long. Aerial spraying from high altitude would be an extremely inefficient and inexact mode of delivering chemicals to ground-based targets. And this is where they talk about pesticides. So pesticides, for example, are often sprayed on crops from airplanes from about 30 feet, as I said. Wide area mosquito spray may be done from an altitude 150 feet. Chemtrails are supposedly deposited at 30,000 feet or higher, where winds would likely disperse them unpredictably, and the compounds would probably break down before reaching the ground. If there was a clandestine campaign to randomly expose all echelons of society to foreign chemicals, it would be simpler, now this makes a lot of sense, and more effective to put them in the water supply. Now that's a no-brainer. These guys probably haven't thought of that, but nevertheless, maybe that's what they say fluoride is. I bet you they do. Or an inhalation was necessary to release them from ground-based vehicles. Not also that if governments use just military planes and not airliners, it would be a waste of resources for so little, if anything. In return, as they'd have to use a lot of them, using airlines has the problems of why none of many passengers, pilots, and especially technicians who maintain and fuel them notice or care about anything weird going on, and how both chemicals and the system used to spray them lead to extra weight, something of concern for airlines because of their obsession with fuel prices. So they wouldn't be sending up airplanes with passengers and whatever, and then having these barrels full of liquid and then dispersing them into the environment. That just wouldn't have happened. Now, there's this thing called vinegar warriors, which is what this guy was talking about, and this is quite interesting. There's an intrepid group of people who have discovered the secrets of removing chemicals. Vinegar. This is what it's all about. There are numerous groups dedicated to it, and despite the obvious stupidity of it all, they seem to believe it. They do. Amazing. The trick is as follows. Simply evaporate a certain amount of vinegar each day in order to disperse clouds and chemtrails and to clear the skies. Depending on how crazy the person proposing this can be, the volumes range from a few litres per day mixed with extra water to simply spraying it into the air from a bottle. Yes, that's right. People believe that clouds and chemicals at 20,000 feet can be dispersed and neutralised by spraying a couple of millilitres of dilute acetic acid in their backyard. Presumably, the patches of dead grass you can see in the video these people produce are just coincidence. For those who can't quite afford the increase in energy bills associated with boiling 5+ litres of water a day for no reason, other advice includes simply tipping it onto asphalt and let it evaporate naturally. Complaints from neighbours about the smell may be evident. For that matter, even a modicum of chemical knowledge and a simple experiment in distillation will reveal that what is released in the atmosphere by evaporating vinegar is overwhelmingly water. Vinegar is 95% water and 5% acidic to begin with, and the water is substantially more volatile than acetic acid. The acetic acid that is evaporated is considerably higher than air, so it settles out rapidly and close to its source. Unless you're planning on lying next to a bottle of vinegar all day, keep it away from your lungs. If anything, by humidifying the atmosphere, evaporating chemical promotes infinitesimally the formation of contrails. And this guy goes on to say there's very little to refute when it comes to this, not least the complete lack of evidence that chemtrails are real. But even if they were real, there's no chance that spraying a minute amount of a fairly cheap, weak acid is going to disperse chemicals over a range of dozens of cubic miles. And that's, I guess, the argument. So that's my story about chemtrails. The point I'm trying to make is that these people believe this shit. For reasons that I can't understand, they see this as relevant and is about this conspiracy that somehow the deep state is controlling us. And so they're looking for these types of conspiracy theories to believe in so that it will support their basic belief about another authority, a greater power, controlling what you think and how you behave. So that's my story of chemtrails. Let me know what you think. And please remember to subscribe to my channel for more of this sort of nonsense, if you like. And also some of the other good stuff that I talk about on my YouTube channel. Thanks everybody for being with me. Take care. Look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.